Good. How's it going?
We're good, man. How about you?
Good, man.
So what? All right, we got a few things to talk about. Apparently, you can't throw rings around, stick up someone's ass with this live stream company you were working with. Was that the final straw?
Dude.
Break it down. Break it down, Tommy. What do we got? That was wild. That was some old school shit you guys were doing. That's some crazy O&A. Like, we don't give a fuck. We're gonna have a guy on our couch with his asshole out.
I feel like I should first let the good people at Stoke get their plug in. I got to work with them. I got to design. We design a lot of merch at YMH. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We got to design this and give a little wink to folks who feel fragile about drinking delicious things. So it was really fun.
Oh, that's a nice sounding pour.
Who drinks? Do you drink more Stoke or does Bert drink more Kool-Aid?
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to give him the upper hand, but I'm really close. I do drink a lot of Stoke. If you go to StokePumpkinAF.com, they sold out and they are restocking them. So they're giving some of these away so people want to get them.
You're just printing money over there, huh? I mean, you're getting into everything. We're doing coffee.
I'm printing coffee.
I love it, man. It's good stuff. I'm not even a huge coffee guy, but even I can enjoy this. It's got the pumpkin spice.
It's delicious.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
They're really cool. I really enjoy the people at Stoke. Yeah, dude. So, all right, I'll tell you the full story. Okay?
Please do.
So I got a call, and I'm a touring comic. I live for shows, and like it's been a real bummer. It's been 5 months, and so just the idea of being on the call, like the text, what I'm usually used to with like how's Chicago selling, that whole like experience is what I'm addicted to.
Right.
And so they go, hey, you could do one of your virtual podcasts and sell tickets. So it'll be a special event, live streaming. People can watch it at like video on demand.
Right.
And I go, this sounds pretty cool. And then we go, hey, we play a lot of crazy stuff on our show. I go, can we do this uncensored? Because that's like a hook, and that makes it more exciting to us.
Right.
So they go, let's set up a call. So we set up a conference call with this whole team, legal people from this company, executives, and our producers. Like, yeah, so can we play uncensored? And they're like, yeah, no problem. And they're like, and my producer goes, I don't think
we're not talking about language. We're not, there's different uncensored here.
And they go, well, what would you want to play? And my producer goes, well, I've thrown up twice in the last month working for it. And they're like, oh. So, but this goes to show you the extent we went to, okay? So I go, I'm not taking anybody saying like, yeah, sounds fine.
Right.
I go, put it together in a file. So we send them a Dropbox link with the clips we're going to play, which are horrific, like really, really bad. Okay. They call us back and they go, you're good to go. I'm like, really? Then a week later, we add more clips. And we also, the guy who does the stunt is the guy who I had pushed a few weeks earlier who had shit his own balls out, So
I didn't realize it was him. I've seen him. That's him. Amazing.
Him. And I have to give him credit. Pierce Paris is his name.
Great name.
He pitched the idea. So I didn't go like, hey, will you do this? He said,
it's a real go-getter.
Can we do this? Mm-hmm. So I was like, yeah, man. So we'll do a cold open, like an SNL cold open, but it'll be with you doing that. He loves it. He's gamer, shows up, absolutely kills it.
What was his line? He looked at the camera and was like, oh, the drama or something like that?
Once I landed a horseshoe on the pole, he turns and he goes, it's your mom's house live. So we had like a great, and then that bit like really launched, people were going crazy in the chat thread. They give us a call. That night my agent called, he goes, you broke all the sales records for this service. They've never had like activity like this.
Right.
We're riding a high Saturday, Sunday, Monday. they go, it's still selling. People are now buying it like as an on-demand thing, and it's doing really well. Everyone's happy. Like the service is happy, the agency, we're happy. Tuesday, we're doing a podcast. And as I'm doing the podcast, I have my phone over here. I see my agent call and then text, and I'm trying to like stay in the conversation. So we break. I pick it up and it says urgent. Call me. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, I got a real problem. And I go, what is it? He goes, they're taking it down. And I go, why? And he goes, I don't know, man. Somebody saw it that is higher up, I guess. And I go, but they signed off on it. Like everything.
There's probably like one or two guys that it didn't get to that, right?
Yeah,
like it went all the way up the ladder. But
I think a higher up was probably like, Monday meeting was like, oh, so we had like a really good sales weekend.
What happened?
Yeah. What sold so well?
The guy who shits his balls out.
Take a look. McNuggets. So, then I go, you got to be kidding me. And they were like, no, dude. They're like this, like the person that called my agent said he called him in a panic. Like he was like, this guy was panic.
Yo, this is great for you though, right? You're just gonna re-upload it elsewhere and now have even more hype and more subscriptions, right?
Yeah, we'll have we'll announce the new home within another 24 hours.
I mean,
so we already have it.
If I didn't know you, but I would say that you set this all up. This is great marketing for you guys.
I wish I could, but yeah, we booked 3 more dates.
I was gonna say, so how often are you gonna throw rings around? One a month. And I mean, the bar is set extremely high for whatever the next couple stunts are gonna be, dude.
Yeah, it's gonna cost us to do these next stunts. Yeah.
That is unreal. What else was going on? I listened to the episode with you and Christina maybe a couple weeks ago where you guys were being like very, oh, did you see that panda and that baby? And you were being very much like, this is what you get when you censor us. Is someone else giving you a hard time?
Well, yeah, that was really like, so I don't know, like we ended up not really planning. I've told our producers, we have like 3 or 4 producers there. I was like, stop putting crazy shit in my folders because I can never resist playing something outrageous.
Right.
And I go, but you're giving me stuff that's so crazy that like people are like, what is happening on this show? So because I started to get all these messages about like how gross things were, I was like, fine, let's do like a family episode, like like kids laughing and
right.
Panda.
So like, but even like your fans were like, dude, this is too much, or there were people just like, the haters.
No, I think I think it was kind of split. The truth is, I think that a lot of the fans go like, this is outrageous, but this is what we live for.
Right.
So you know what I mean? Like, it's like people were telling me like they were struggling to finish the live episode. They're like, I was like peeking through my hands.
Yes, that's the goal right there. It's wild. Yeah. So now you have, I mean, think about it. He does a podcast with his wife, and then he does a podcast with Bert fucking Kreischer. I mean, your world, you are in diametric. I mean, and your wife's obviously a comic, so she's hanging with the guys, but those are quite different podcasts.
Partners. It's like I'm with my wife, and then like this guy that lives outside. So like,
I really believe in his Mickey Mantle gene. I think it's a thing, but saying that it's a real thing, but there's a limit. And saying he's gonna give Warren Sapp a run for his money in wrestling, I think is well beyond the limit.
One of the all-time great defensive linemen.
I mean, he is a literal bear.
A man who wrestled professionally.
I mean, he's a freak.
You know how bad I wish that Warren would have been like, because he responded today on Twitter.
Was he like, let's just do it?
He's like, we're good for all those except wrestling. Like he was like,
because I don't want to kill a man.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was like, do you realize like all your meals will be through a straw if you wrestle
Warren Sapp?
Like, I just saw Warren on his Instagram doing a backflip off of a boat. He's like 48, and
those guys are. That was actually one of the first questions.
They're not like you and me.
No,
like,
they're superhumans, and I mean, and he can run a fucking like a 4.4 40 on top
Vince
of it.
Wilfork ran like a 4.6.
Yeah,
it's insane.
One of the first
that man was almost
we did.
500 pounds
early on. Maybe
can you imagine a dude like that, like for real, putting his hands on you,
rushing at you like I want to hurt you? It's over, Bert. I know you can run a marathon. I know you can just pick up like funny, quirky things to do. I
want to see it so bad.
So bad. That's got to happen at some point, right? You can convince Warren.
I want to see it. I want to. I don't know if we got enough booze in Bert, which isn't that hard.
I think he'll take care of that for you.
We'd be like, all right, let's see what you can do, Warren. Is your will signed and up to date and everything?
How has Two Bears One Cave been? I mean, you guys do what every 2 weeks? Is it?
It's every week.
Every week now? Yeah. All right. So I mean,
every Monday. Yeah.
I mean, you got to be killing it now, huh? Business is good.
I mean,
for
Two
you.
Bears like really exploded. You know,
Yeah.
like the YouTube audience is in particular like really significant, and yeah, they love the show. I think he and I, you know, it's like you just we have chemistry. Like we have a dynamic where I think the big thing is that we really do and always have liked each other, and like the thing, like we actually fully, it's like almost like we're married. We're like we know each other's little things so well.
You can tell it when you listen.
Things about Bert that like bother people don't bother me. Like it's like full acceptance of your partner, you know?
Yeah.
And
listen,
same thing with me. Like he just fully accepts me how I am.
For you to be able to sit through that laugh every single time it happens is true love. It's true love because I would want to chop his head off.
It doesn't even register. I don't even hear it.
I mean, it is unbelievable. When did you guys like? When was the? How long had you been friends before you were like, let's just fucking like do this professionally and make money now?
Well,
we
were
right?
A long time. Yeah. I mean, we met in 2003 or 4.
Right.
We worked
You
together.
left a lot of money on the table, man. You should have been doing that a long time ago.
I know. A lot. But then, then we each started our podcast, and the whole pairing up thing was like it never occurred to me because I was doing Your Mom's House, which had, has its own like significant following, and it feels like it's work. There's like meaning work as in like, it's something that we do every week,
right, without
failure. And then as far as like a second podcast, I'd thought about doing like interview show where like I could just actually talk to people, not having the comedic element to it. Cause like there's times you just want to like talk to people. And anyways, with like other people doing like pairing up to do shows, I was like, why don't we just try that? Like see if we could. So we did. And yeah, it worked out, man.
Worked out pretty well.
The podcast game is so funny where you're like, well, I already have one show a week. I couldn't possibly do 2.
Yeah, I mean,
like, I have to work for 3 hours this week? I don't think so.
It's so true. It's like, you're like, what am I? But one thing that I feel like, because obviously Rogan gets a lot of credit for like, huge podcast explosion. But one thing I think he really nailed, that we're essentially, he takes all of his interests and he puts them on the same feed, right? Mm-hmm. But I feel like if I wanted to have a one-on-one talk with Mark Cuban or something, if I put it on my Your Mom's House feed, I feel like that audience would be like, this isn't the show.
Right, right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Whereas Joe was able to like kind of leap that, where he goes, no, like this is just going to be like MMA today.
Right, MMA, a scientist, whatever,
and they're all on the same feed, and people kind of like pick and choose it. I feel like we went so much in the direction of like, this is our show, that if I wanted to have 4 hours of talking to different things, I have to set up like 4 RSS feeds.
Right, which is a bitch to grow, but when you get to the point that you can grow multiple ones, I feel like people would appreciate that more.
I think so too.
Clog you up, yeah. And now, and I gotta give it up to you for, I mean, just doing everything in Spanish is fucking brilliant.
Well, yeah.
You're just double dipping, you son of a bitch.
Once I started doing stand up in Spanish, and then I have a deal for a Netflix special in Spanish. So when I signed that,
or are you doing other material, or is it just like your jokes in Spanish?
Right now it's when I last did stand up 5 months ago,
right,
it was a mix of like material written just for those shows and some material that was translated. But the idea of that podcast was really just to practice Spanish by talking to native speakers all the time, and then reaching out to an online audience, because with the goal of shooting the special, you're like, well, I'll just build this relationship over time.
Right. Are you writing jokes now? Are you like with no kind of like, it's not even really worth it, right?
Because the feeling like in normal times when you write jokes, like the fun thing is like, hey, I got this thing, I'm gonna try it tonight, or I'm gonna try it tomorrow. When you don't have the release, the outlet to do it, you're like, well, I mean, what am I writing?
But at the same time,
that I never performed.
I also feel like there's so many stories and like bits that do come up that you don't want to. Don't you want to get it out? You know?
I have like a notes thing where I keep for like that. I've written like sketches, and I have a book that I'm writing. So like I've been writing that. That feels like the writing release.
Yeah.
But like the stand-up stuff, I feel so removed from it right now.
Is the book just like your story?
Stories, yeah. Just like essays and stuff, like comedic essays and stories.
I feel like that's always been where we end up, but I feel like the thought of blocking out time to write for something that's not, we're so used to like writing it and publishing it and just getting it out there. Yeah. The thought of blocking out time to write for something that you're going to put out, and like, I guess you kind of do that with your special, so you're probably used to it. But for us to do that seems like a fucking bear.
Not publishing immediately sounds insane.
Oh, that's like the worst, right? But I mean, I'm sure that's.
I also just lose interest really fast in myself. I'm like, man,
I'm not that interesting.
This sucks. Like this, like if I have more than 17 minutes to like consider it, I'm like, nah, man, that's terrible. We're not doing anything with that.
Well, that's because we don't have self-confidence. People like Tom, they do. They have a reason for it.
I don't know.
I'm always interested. Like, did you and Christina make a concerted effort to, like, you guys refer to your kids, but you kind of keep family pretty separate, whereas like a guy like Bert is, you know, obviously out there with names and crazy shit, right? I kind of did the same thing, and I regret it. Was that like, you know, a talk you and Christina had?
It was definitely a thing because I'm naturally immensely private,
right?
So
which is kind of weird, right?
It is a bit weird because for me it's always been a separation where like performing is like that thing, and then this is your separate life. Mm-hmm. I think podcasting opened up that gap a little bit for me, like in particular. Mm-hmm. Sharing more, you know, talking more. Like I had a hard time just like even being open about, you know, interests and everything. I just felt like, you know, I'm a comedic person here, and then I'm another person here. But like it's bridged the gap a little bit over time, like getting more comfortable with that.
Right.
But yeah, I've always been like, yeah, I don't want to, you know, my kids, I think like they didn't sign up for their dad, you know, having crazy podcasts and telling like, you know, insane jokes that
hanging out with guys who shit their balls out.
Yeah, it's like they didn't sign up for that.
You know, they're at school. It's like, hey, I saw your dad throwing rings on that guy's asshole. Yeah, I guess they never made that choice.
I don't want like, I don't know, man. No, I live in this. My bubble is a lot of crazy jokes and inside jokes. Meaning, like even like social media, and like I'm not gonna be like cool with some random dude. You know, making comments about my kid. Yeah. So I'm just like, I probably should just never, you know.
Oh, it's so, I mean, it is absolutely the way to go. I can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, but I absolutely wish I could. It is way smarter to do it the way you're doing it.
You said last time on the show, you had said you moved the studio, right? To not have it in the house. So when guests came through.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Because of that reason, like you just wanted it totally separate?
Oh, yeah. And that was the best. I mean, it was great for the privacy thing, but it also expanded our business like significantly. So it ended up being like something that made, you know, it's like it's a destination to go to,
right?
But like I think it helped our show, and then we produce, you know, Your Mom's House, Two Bears. Christina does Where My Mom's At. We do Tom Segura and Espanol, and we're launching 2 more podcasts, and it's all in that facility.
That you're doing, or under your like umbrella? Like, are you hosting the 2?
One is under my umbrella that like I'm not on it at all, but we just produce it. Mm-hmm. One, it would be something that I'm a part of. Yeah.
Man. And are you doing a podcast with Warren Sapp? Or is that just like,
well, we're talking about it. I mean, you know, he's asking for Dion money, and we're just trying to like,
dude, I didn't even know that was happening. I woke up in the morning and I was like, oh, Dion's a fucking coworker.
It was so funny for us because we had for a couple weeks been talking about Warren. And then we saw that, and we're like, "Oh, this is a thing now." And then we're like, "Oh, shit, what is Barstool paying?" So,
probably more than I'm making. Can guarantee that much. Prime time, man. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I mean, I'm a prime time. I'm a fan of like that whole thing that you guys have built there. No, it's very cool. I mean, he's going to be doing his own podcast and then other content, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I don't know what's out there publicly and what's not. It's more, you know, football obviously related. So they've got a couple things in the works for if and when there's football. I think there's going to be a lot of like Barstool Dion content, which not, you know, usually like we get these guys and they kind of do their own thing and they're just like on our roster. I think Dion's going to be like mixing it up with the guys, which is fucking unbelievable. That's wild to think of. Like if you grew up in our era, like watching him, and now all of a sudden you're, you know, on the fucking stage with
Dude.
him. It's insanity.
Dude.
The opportunities, man. It's absolutely nuts.
I have 2 framed photos of him in my house.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he's that dude. The interview he did on Pardon My Take, he said something very quick and witty, very funny, talking shit, and the guys were like, "Did you just make that up right now?" And he was like, "Yes, this is what you get. I can do this now. I can finally speak my fucking mind."
Well, I remember someone asked him, "Could you cover Michael Thomas?" And I think right now, and he goes, "Don't mistake a moment for a monument."
That's it.
I'm a monument.
Don't mistake a moment for a monument. And he just had that, Tom, he just had that like off the top. I was like, I would have had to write that like 6 months ago, you know? He's just that fucking dude. It's unbelievable, man.
Dude, yeah, he is that dude, and that he could cover anybody.
No, I think like right now.
Yeah.
Put him in the league right
Yeah,
now.
some
He's
of
probably
those
gonna cover these
guys too. You're like, wait, you retired when? Like, I met Michael Irvin. I was like, Jesus Christ, man! Like, he was completely jacked. His hand went around my hand. Like, he did this.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God.
I think Dion said right now he could play nickel, safety in like the nickel package, and he could be like in baseball. He could be like a pinch runner late in the game, like right now.
I totally believe that.
Yeah,
I totally.
absolutely.
He could be an alternate in the Olympics in the 100 meter.
Right. If anything goes wrong, we'll call up prime time.
Every time he comes up, I have to tell. He has my favorite sports story of all time. In the pre-draft meeting with the Giants, they handed him like a huge playbook, and he went in, gave it back to him, and said, "When do you guys pick?" And they said, "We picked 7th." He goes, "Yeah, I'm not going to be here," and just walked out.
And these are the type of guys that Bert Kreischer thinks he can hang with. You know, it's
That would be
unreal.
awesome. It'd be like, you think you could beat him in a race? You'd be like, probably.
I think so. Give me a week to train. I could do it. All right, dude. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Thanks so much. We're gonna be chugging this Stoke cold brew, and
I appreciate it, man.
yeah, no doubt.
Appreciate it very much.
Don't be a
It's fun to
stranger.
chop it up with you guys.
Have a good one, man.
Thanks to you, Tom.
Take care, man.